Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 247 DIY. I've got a quick one for you today. We're going to be wiring a manually operated headlight switch into this Craftsman T3200, so stay tuned for that. Alright guys, so here is my Craftsman T3200 riding lawnmower. It's a great lawnmower. I've used it for one season so far. I really like it, but the one thing that I do not like is the fact that the headlights are always on no matter what you do. There is no switch for the headlights. Basically, anytime you switch the key to the on position, the headlights are always on. I don't know this for a fact. I'm assuming Craftsman probably figures it's some sort of safety feature to make the lawnmower more visible. I guess having the headlights on all the time, sort of similar to how they require daytime running lights on vehicles now, but I personally don't like it. It doesn't affect anything with the lawnmower. Obviously, it's going to mow just fine regardless of whether the headlights are on or off. Personally, though, I would like to have them off if I don't need them on. So we're going to be wiring in a switch onto the dash of the lawnmower. And so right up here on the dash area of the lawnmower, there's a little blank switch here. Must be used for another model. I don't know if maybe there's a separate model that has like a PTO option or some other option, obviously utilizes a switch over there. So we're going to be utilizing that blank right there on the dash for our switch. And so up underneath the dash here, we have both of our headlights, one there, one over there. They're running series with a white and green wire. And they come down to a connector here and they switch to a red and green wire. Right off the top, it's pretty obvious the red wire is going to be your 12 volt source, but I did already take a multimeter and confirm that that red wire is our 12 volt source. I've already come just up over here to where the main wiring harness comes down through, and I've removed some of the plastic wire loom already. I've already been in here. I just wanted to confirm. It was kind of a good thing that I did because I was planning on splicing in the switch somewhere up here. I assumed it was one of these red wires, but if you follow the red wire from this red and green here where it comes through for the headlight harness, it comes up to about the tip of my finger there, and then there's another wire that splices in that comes over here and runs up underneath the engine cover here. So whatever that is up under there, obviously we don't want to switch that. We only want to isolate the headlights, so we're going to be splicing our headlight switch wiring somewhere right down in here onto the red wire for the harness. And so first things first, we'll go ahead, we're going to pop this blank out, and we'll get our switch set up inside of the blank. All right, so right off the bat, my plan's actually going to change a little bit. I was expecting this to be, the opening to be a lot larger down in here with not this sort of style clip in into the dash. I was going to put the actual switch into this plug, but that's not going to work because you can see we have a square hole down there, and then even if we round that out to a round opening, this won't actually clip into the dash anymore. So we're not going to use this. Luckily the switches I have are going to be perfect. They're about 19, they're a little over 19 millimeters around in diameter. The cross section, if you were to go across this square, is not quite, but almost 19 millimeters. So really all we have to do is carefully come in here and drill out this square to a round hole that's almost the same size, like I said, corner to corner for this square opening. All right, so this may not go as smoothly as I had hoped. I have my large step drill bit here. I did just measure it with the caliper, and the largest bore on this is actually slightly smaller that we're going to need. So I'll bore it out to that and then see what we have to do after that. We might just have to open the hole up with a file a little bit. All right, so that hole is actually going to be pretty much perfect for this switch to go in there, it looks like. The only thing that we're going to have to do is you can see there is an indexing tab on this switch. You could make life easy and just cut that off. I'm going to try to utilize it. That way the switch won't ever rotate in that hole. So we're just going to go ahead and cut a little notch here onto the left side of this opening for that indexing tab to locate this switch. And there we go. That little indexing tab is going to hold that in place and not allow this to rotate. This size hole is actually going to work out just right. It's a little tight in there, which really might only negatively affect me down the road if I have to remove this for some reason. We're just going to roll with it. We'll just have to jam it down in there, but it does fit. It's not going to be in there too terribly tight. So now we can go ahead and start wiring up the switch side of things. This is the style switch I decided to go with, and I do like these ones because they came with their own little spade connector leads here, which go onto the back of the switch. So all we got to do is take the length of wire we're going to be using and splice and crimp onto the switch here. Now we can go ahead and install the switch. All right, and so if you can see up in there underneath the tank, I'll zoom out in a minute so you can tell exactly where this is. But I came down through and joined the red and white wire up to the main harness. You can see the white zip ties I added there. Ideally, if you had the time on your hands, what you would do is take the fuel tank out so that you could find the opening in this little plate that it sits on and join it to the main harness from there. I really didn't feel like taking the tank out right now, so my wire comes down just over top of the backside of the handle for the parking brake and just underneath the steering column. It's out of the way where it shouldn't get hung up in the steering column at all, and it's well away from the rod that actuates your parking brake, so that should all be fine. And then that's all right up underneath here, looking up underneath the right side of the mower, and so that brings us down here to where we're going to be working and joining the switch up to the main harness here. All right, so we've got kind of a tight space here to work, so hopefully I can film all this and not get too much in the way of the camera at the same time. We're gonna go ahead and, like I said, we're gonna get this switch spliced into the red wire for the headlight harness right here. All right, and so there's everything all finished up. Everything comes down through there nicely. Obviously, with the addition of the butt connectors and the extra wiring inside of there, after I wrap this up, it's too thick to accommodate the factory undoable bracket for the wiring harness that they use. So I just pulled that out of there. It's the same style. It's like the push-in Christmas tree style, and I have these zip tie ones on hand, so I just popped the factory one out, and then I pushed that into the hole in the frame there, and then zip tied this down. So that should wrap everything up, and we should be good to go to try this out and make sure it works. So that's all there is to it, guys. Really simple project if you want to go ahead and add a manual switch to the headlights on your mower, if, like me, yours didn't come with one from the factory. So if you like the video, guys, be sure to hit that like button. Feel free to leave a comment below, and if you're not subscribed already, please consider subscribing. Thanks.